The seed that is released in an atmosphere like this determines what you become pregnant with. Go in and possess the land that I'm giving to you for you and your children, that you may live long in that land, that you may live healthy in that land. It is God's divine purpose for you to live long in the land, to live healthy, wealthy, prosperous in the land. Hello and welcome. This is Pastor Titch, Senior Pastor of Prevailing Word Ministries International. But I want to come to you as a coach. I do finance coaching, business coaching, wealth coaching, and I want to talk to you one-on-one. So I'm welcoming you to my office, to my personal space, so that for this season, we go through a series of teachings that I believe will begin to change your life. As a business coach, one of the things I've discovered is with help, with coaching, with wisdom, with knowledge, people can move from one level in their life to the next. And I've coached hundreds of people, worked with many people, done seminars in different churches, different places, different companies, and worked people out of what I call the red, the place of debt, into the black, the place of increase and financial freedom. And I believe it is your heart and your desire to also have financial freedom. According to statistics, they tell us, I live and reside in South Africa, they tell us that within the South African context, over 90 to 95% of the people in this nation are living in consumptive debt, meaning all these people are eating food they're still paying for over the next few months, wearing clothes they will pay for over 6 months to a year to 2 years, living on debt, buying furniture that they'll pay for 3-4 years, buying vehicles they'll pay for over 6-7 years, buying houses they will pay for over 25 to 30 years. And that's become normal. That's become the way people live. I'm coming to you with wisdom from the Word of God that I believe will challenge you, encourage you, empower you, and enable you to live out of the red but in the black. Live in the place of increase. According to God's divine design, He wants you to live in increase. I am a business person, I'm a pastor, I'm a coach, but I'm also an author, and I want to introduce you to some of the resources that we have. We'll talk a lot more about these as we go through the next few weeks with you. Please join me, stay connected, go through the whole series, and it will help you to lay a good foundation for your next level from a financial perspective. The first resource, which is the main one, and this was the piece that I did for my master's program when I was studying. This is called the Judaeo Abrahamic Wealth Factor. I believe this book is loaded with principles that will equip you, challenge you, encourage you to become financially free. And I'm going to talk from that just now. The second resource I want you to be interested in and look out for is this one, the Meditations of a Kingdom Financier. This is 41 lessons that will equip you to think differently, see differently, and operate differently from a financial perspective. You are able to get the details of how you can get those books on the screen, or you can follow me in my websites or my social media, and you'll be able to get as much information as possible. Now, when I wrote the Judaeo Abrahamic Wealth Factor, one of the things I did was, there was this big question that kept rolling in my head. I hear people make the statement that Jews are wealthy. Jews have a lot of money. They are very good at business. So I asked myself the question, what is it about them that makes them so outstanding from a business perspective? So I began to, and I've done years and years of studying different people in the area of success, in the area of finance, in the area of business, just studying to understand what keys or what principles they used to become great. So I dedicated, I think it's probably been about 6 or 7 years now, of studying the Jewish people, studying the Torah, studying the writings, the Talmud, the writings of the Jewish people, just to pick up principles that will help us understand what are the keys that made them wealthy. So for these video shoots that we are doing, we want to come to you and share some of that wisdom so that we can move you to a place where you are walking and living in supernatural increase, which is God's plan for you. Debt is not God's plan. The problem with debt, people challenge me a lot and say, but you're saying people should get out of debt, but debt is a normal part of life. It's not God who normalized debt. It's the devil who has normalized debt. whether or not something is prevalent or is done by many people is no reason why we should accept it and consider it as a normal part of our lives. We ought to make a quality decision that we want to break out of what has been normalized and live according to a divine blueprint, according to the Word of God. And the Word of God is replete. It is full of, it is overflowing with wisdom on financial freedom, financial increase, financial authority, and the ability to transact in a world that has become so debt-oriented. So this is basically a challenge coming from God, saying, how can a person redefine their lives? And there is over 300 pages in this book that will challenge you to begin to step into a whole new arena in your life. I want to begin in one of my favorite chapters. This is chapter 14 in the book, chapter 14, which is entitled, What Language Do You Speak? The biggest challenge that we have in the world today is we speak the wrong language. And I'm not speaking about English, Russian, Japanese, Chinese, Zulu, Xhosa. The languages I'm referring to here are languages like poverty. Poverty is a language. And the reason Africa is burdened by the problem of poverty and debt, extreme poverty and debt, and you know how they've iconized our babies that are holding a bowl to the American donors looking for help and saying, please help us, we are starving. It has become iconic to see children starving like that, and it has become synonymous with our continent. Why? Because we have chosen to speak the wrong language. And part of it obviously comes from the influence of the process of colonization and what happened with the scramble for Africa, because they understood that the only way they could keep their position of dominion in looting the resources and the wealth of Africa, it was based on us speaking the wrong language. So they had to instill a language of poverty, a language of lack, and a language of dependence on donors that will give us peanuts in exchange for the resources of our continent. But it is up to us now to make a quality decision as an African continent that we need to change our language. We need to change the way we speak. So I want to challenge you first of all in this department. What language do you speak? So not only is poverty a language, wealth is a language, abundance is a language, divorce is a language, sickness is a language, failure is a language. All these are different languages, but we want to move you to a place where your language becomes the same language that God speaks. God speaks the language of abundance, the language of prosperity, the language of success, the language of health and well-being, the language of long life upon the earth. And as you study the Word of God, particularly building from the Torah or the books of Moses, you will see God's language was always that he visits a man called Avram, and he begins to speak to him, and he challenges him, and he says, come out of where you are. Go to a land that I will show you. And when you get there, this is in Genesis chapter 12. Go to a land that I'll show you. And when you get there, this is what I will do. In blessing, I will bless you. In multiplying, I will multiply you. And then he says, through you shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. But when you read the Chumash or the writings of the Jewish, it more accurately says, through you shall all the nations or the families of the earth bless themselves. In other words, anything that connects with you will begin to experience personal and incremental blessing in every area of their life, which is very, very exciting for you and me, because once we understand the concept of what God did with Abraham to take him out of Ur of the Chaldees, to take him to the land of Canaan, where he was to establish him as a superpower and make him the wealthiest man of his time, a nation that became a powerful force. The question that we need to ask ourselves is, what were the keys? And amazingly, one of the keys was obviously the issue of the language. And God had to change Abraham's language, because he changed his name from Avram to Avhamon. Avhamon, where we get Abraham. Avhamon means father of many nations, or father of the nations. Avram means father of Aram. So God moved him from being the father of one nation to becoming the father of many nations. But it was not up until the last year before Sarah gets pregnant that he changed his language. So he continued for a whole extended period of time using the same name the name Avram, which was not synonymous with his next level. So until God visits him in the plains of Mamre, and he says to him, tell your wife Sarah that by this time next year she will be a mother. Sarah is listening in the tent, and she hears God saying this to Abraham, and she says, she laughs within herself, and she says, oh, can I find pleasure when I'm this old? And she comes into a position of doubting what God said, which is what may happen to people as they listen to what I'm teaching. Because you've been in debt for so long, it may not be visible in your vision for you to see yourself debt-free, living in increase, living in overflow. But I want to challenge you, listen carefully. So when Abraham is conversing with God and God says, why did Sarah laugh? And Sarah argues and says, no, I didn't laugh. Then God says, your name shall no longer be Sarai, but it shall be Sarah. And your name, Abraham, shall no longer be Avram, but it shall be Avhamon, father of many nations. The change of the words or the names or the language was the key. 9 months later, Isaac arrived. Now, we don't know what the time frame would be for you to get out of debt, depending on how well you receive the teachings. But I'm here to tell you, if you can change your language, you can change your position. So we're going to take a break just now. Listen on how you can get access to our resources and more teachings, more things that can help you to move to your place of increase in financial favor. But as we take a break, get your notes, get a pen, get ready to come back after this, and we're going to dive into the book. God bless you.
Hello, welcome to the family. It's amazing how many people struggle to live life as they should. Success is a possible reality. The key is living the Word of God. Prevailing Word Ministries International is a word-based, Bible-believing church right in the heart of Johannesburg North. God spoke to my parents and said, "Build me a family church that will minister to my people." The Lord gave them a clear mandate from 1 Samuel 22 verse 2, that all those in debt, in distress, and those that are discontent will gather and their lives will be changed. For the last 5 years, we have seen this happen. Many lives have been impacted by the Word of God. At Prevailing Word, we believe that the Word of God is everything. The teaching, the worship, the atmosphere, the supernatural power of God, the love. You just have to experience it. Every Sunday at 9 a.m., 234 Malibongwe Drive, North Riding, Johannesburg. Prevailing Word Ministries International, a family for you to belong.
Welcome back. I trust you're ready with your notebook and ready to go deeper into what we are talking about here. We're building on the subject in chapter 14 of my book, the Judaeo Abrahamic Wealth Factor, and we're building on the subject, what language do you speak? I'm challenging you that the first place that you need to visit before we go anywhere is your references, your reference point. What is your reference point? That talks about your language, the words that you speak, the frame of mind that you have towards money, towards wealth, towards resources. Now, I want to do a little bit of a case study, and this is again in the book, but I'm just going to pick up a little excerpt from the book in the chapter, What Language Do You Speak? And I talk about, I reference a book called The Epoch of America, written by a name James Truslow Adams, an American writer who studied what happened with the transition of America from where it was to the America we kind of know today, with the concept of the American dream. The American dream, the basic thesis behind the American dream is it challenged the thought processes of the American people, and it challenged the language that they spoke, and it challenged what they saw. Now, I want to come to you and say, if you do a quick study again of America, that will help, or any other country that moved from a place of severe poverty and lack to a place of affluence and increase, and so on. If you do a study, you will always see that the first thing that they had to do was redefine the way they saw things, the way they heard, the way they spoke. That's why Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Proverbs 29:18. It challenges us to have vision. Vision is not just a flimsy perspective of something that you wish would happen. That's wishful thinking. That's just maybe, I don't know what we can call it. But when it becomes vision, it moves to a place where it drives you. It motivates you. It empowers you. It challenges the status quo. It brings you to a place where you have questions about, what do I believe? my value system currently, is it helping me? Is it moving me to where I want to go? So I want to challenge you. Here are the keys that I picked up in my research of the American dream. What were the keys that moved the American people to a place where they became an amazing superpower? Here are the following advantages of bringing a common vision to a people. Now, this could be a family, it could be an individual, it could be a company or a business, it could be a nation or a city, or it could be a continent. If we can follow these simple processes and implement them at whatever level we are at, we can begin to redefine our lives by changing our language. Here's key number one: unity of the people. They were united towards a common vision, and this made the people powerful. What vision is driving you? What's motivating you? What's speaking into your spirit and challenging you for your next level? Here's key number two. The vision was clarified. A clear, compelling vision. In other words, what was in their minds was put on paper. We clarify the vision. And this becomes a rallying call that brings an amassment of people and their energy, their skills, their resources, and their passion, which is the fuel, to drive us towards the success of that vision. Here's number three: a strong desire for a better life. All human beings generally have a desire for a better life. That's why we go to work 8 in the morning to 5, and sometimes we're working double shifts overtime. What are we doing? We're working towards building a better future. So I challenge you today, how much of a better future are you visualizing for yourself? And then number four actually is passion. Passion is like the fuel in the gas tank. How much fuel do you have? You know, when you're driving on the highway, going somewhere, and you know your fuel is low, you tend to be a little slower and a little more cautious on your acceleration. And a lot of people are like that. They are very low on fuel. Your vision fuel is very low, so that causes you to really go slowly through life. You need to increase your passion, increase your energy, increase your drive towards the achievement of your vision. Then here we go, number 5. They developed a culture of reading and writing. Now, this is probably one that I really want to hone on quite a bit and build on because this is really, really key. People have become lazy when it comes to reading. We must develop a culture of reading and writing. Why? Because informed minds will be more productive in making proper decisions towards success. Informed minds are more productive. They make productive decision-making processes. Good books form the basis of true, lasting transformation. Good books form the foundation, form the thesis of you making decisions that will transform your life for your next level. Don't just be caught up with books that talk about everything and anything. Read good books like this is a good book. I'm marketing myself here, but I totally believe that this book, in fact, this book has equipped and trained up right now. From the time of publication, we have on record 7 people that have become millionaires just by using the principles in this book. This book has also, the principles in this book have also moved me to a place where my annual returns is in the millions. How did we get there? Simply by practicing what is in the Word of God. Now, the reading, the research, the studying helped us tremendously. Let me give you number 6, and then we got to close and get ready for the next session, which I want you to also listen to because we're building one session after another. Number 6 was the Judaeo foundations, the Judeo-Christian foundation of the American economy. It was built on a simple culture of having the Judeo-Christian value system. That means you used a judiciary system that had justice and integrity and a love for the people. You used laws and processes that had a value for the people. The education system originally, I know they went into an era when they kicked out prayer out of the schools and they kicked out the reading of the Bible out of the schools, and all of that has brought the mayhem and the crisis that they're in with drugs increasing and violence and guns and shootouts and police now violating the rights of people and the racial issues that are exploding in America simply because they've gone away from the Judeo-Christian value system that built the moral fabric of a great nation. So I want to challenge you today. What language do you speak? If you begin to, that is why the book is called the Judaeo Abrahamic Wealth Factor. It's designed to give you a new language, a new reference point, a new frame of mind, a new way of thinking that will help you to begin to see your life differently. Now, please, I encourage you, follow me on social media, on my Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. All the details will be on the screen. How will that help you? It'll help you to know all the resources that we're bringing out. And these resources are designed to help you. These resources have worked for many, many people. Like I mentioned earlier, that I've coached hundreds of people. I've coached many, many churches. In fact, I've got about 3 or 4 churches that are using the Judaeo Abrahamic Wealth Factor as a resource for developing their people. And one of the key factors that you notice is the financial environment in those churches is beginning to change. And I believe you can see exactly the same change, whether you're an individual or a church or an organization. God can redefine your wealth factor. This is Coach Titch coming to you from Success Paradigms 101. We're so excited to be able to help you. Stay connected. Let's go on an amazing journey to our wealthy place. God bless you.
Thank you for joining us in this teaching. For more information, testimonies, prayer requests, and other teachings, contact us on +27 11 704 7876 or on our website www.pwmi.co.za.